Hi, losers. Okay.
Hey, Kelsey and Casey and whoever else is watching this. This is section 8.6, the law of sines. We are going to separate this out for 2 different days. So the first page, we're going to stop after example 2, and then we're going to pick up tomorrow, and we're going to do the notes on the back side. So after example 2, we'll stop, but I will give you a homework assignment and say do these problems, okay? But it will only be half, right? Because these problems are kind of hard. They're a little longer. All right, the law of sines. Ready? Here's my pep talk. Put this at the top of your page. Ever before in this chapter, we were dealing with a certain special type of triangle, and it had to have what? A right angle. So right triangles. And in the right triangles, we had like SOHCAHTOA is what we could use, right? For a right triangle, you can use SOHCAHTOA, right? These last 2 sections of this chapter, which is the law of sines, and then 8.7 is the law of cosines, these are for non-right triangles. Okay? These are the formulas that you use for triangles that are not right triangles. Okay? All right? I'm going to give an example up here of a right triangle. And the first thing that they have us do in this section is find the area. Okay? I'm going to say that this is 6 and this is 8. And this is 10. Because that's a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, right?
Yeah.
6, 8, 10?
Yep.
Okay, if I'm trying to find the area of a triangle, think about it in terms of a box. Okay? How do you find the area of a rectangle?
Length times width.
Length times width or base times height, right?
Yeah.
But a triangle is only half of it. So I do 1/2 the base times the height. So if I'm doing the area of this guy, what is the base and what's the height?
The base is 6 and the height is 8.
Sure. And we do not use 10 to find the area, yeah?
Right.
Because the 10 is just the slanted hypotenuse. We don't care about it, okay? So I could do this. I could do half of 6 is 3, and 3 times 8 is 24, and the area of that is 24, yeah?
Or
okay.
You could do 48.
Or you could do half. Or you could do 48 and then half of 48. That would work too. Or half of 8 is 4 times 6 is 24 also. Whatever way you want to do it, I don't care. But that area is 24. Okay. So the first thing they start us off by doing is like looking at this triangle here, and they're like, find the area of that, right?
But there's 2.
But there's 2 triangles.
Like there's technically they're just having you find the area of the overall triangle this way, right?
But how do you do that?
Okay.
Because it's not a right triangle.
So here's the deal.
That's what that dotted line is.
So we're still doing 1/2 the base times the height, right?
So then you do.
Okay, 1/2 base times height. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay? Write that down. 1/2 base times height. 1/2 base times height. What is the base labeled?
Base is B.
The base is labeled B. It's already labeled B, so we keep it as B. The height is this guy here, but I don't usually know what the height is, right? They won't usually give me that height because that's this guy. Okay? So let's talk about H. Let's talk about what H is, right? If I make H, this is actually called an altitude.
Yes.
Because it's the airplane straight down making a 90-degree angle. Okay, so H is actually an altitude. And if I look at just this triangle right here, let's talk about H in terms of like angle A, right? It's a 90-degree angle now. H is opposite, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and let's talk about C because they have this labeled as C. C is the hypotenuse, right? If I'm looking at that purple triangle right there, H is the opposite, C is the hypotenuse, okay? So, which trig function would you use to talk about H? If we were solving for H, right? Opposite hypotenuse is sine.
You could use so sine.
Sine, okay? And sine of what?
Sine of
Opposite.
Sine of angle A equals opposite is H, the hypotenuse is C, right? So if we were trying to solve for H here, I would just multiply C to the other side, right?
C. Oh.
Okay? So H is equal to C times sine of A, yeah? Does this make sense? You won't have to do this every single time. I'm just showing you how they get the formula. So in the 1/2 base times height, when we're doing that for a triangle that's not a right triangle, they're saying, yeah, do 1/2 base times the height, but the height is actually going to be represented by this stuff. So your formula, 1/2 base times height, is actually C times sine of A. You see how that works?
Okay,
Instead of the height, you use C times sine of A, right? Because that's how you get the height by figuring that out in that triangle. Do you see how we got the height?
So we use
By using a trig function? Okay? So this is the formula that they use for a triangle that is not a right triangle. Okay? You see that right here?
Oh, 'cause it's opposite of the hypotenuse.
Let me walk you through these steps. So 1/2 base times the height. They're saying the height is represented by C times sine of A. So this is the formula for area. 1/2 BC sine of A, yeah? That's the formula they're going to use. You won't have to do all that work every single time. You'll just plop the numbers in. But that's where the formula comes from. Does that make sense? Okay? So let's go ahead and do an area problem right here. Okay? Yeah? Find the area of ABC to the nearest tenth. Ooh, this one's kind of yucky.
So
we have to find C.
we got
No,
opposite
A.
and so
Base
AB
times
is off.
height.
Wait.
No,
Base
you have
times height.
adjacent.
10. You
How-
gotta find.
Area is 1/2 BC times sine of A, right? That's the formula that we have.
So
Okay?
we have
So in this case, we have angle. We have angle C. And what's 9? What is he? What variable is he?
AC. What?
What variable do we use for a number for a letter for 9?
B.
He is lowercase b, right? What about 8?
H.
He is lowercase a, right? Because he's opposite A. This one's opposite B. So now we have lowercase a, we have lowercase b, and we have capital C. But our formula is lowercase b, lowercase c, capital A.
Just make
It doesn't matter what we name them, just as long as these two are not the same as that angle. Does that make sense? So my angle C, I can plug 104 in for this guy because that's what capital C is, right? Capital B we can leave as capital B, or excuse me, lowercase b. We can put him in as 9, and C we can put him in as 8, right?
Wait.
So we're just
No,
switching.
I thought 8 was A. How did
What?
That doesn't make sense.
Okay, so we left B as B, right? It doesn't matter what they're named, just as long as these two sides, BC, is not the same as this angle, right? So I could very well just do BA times C, right? Or BA and C
So
instead.
as long as it's
Okay,
not, if
so-
they're not.
As long as the two
104.
sides that you're given are not opposite from the angle that you're given, right?
So if we don't use that, can and you're like finding that, you could go C over or hypotenuse over or adjacent and hypotenuse instead of using that, right?
I'm confused.
Like you do sine of what is it again? 34 or something.
So all we have to do is plop those numbers in now.
It just doesn't make sense.
1/2 of 9 times 8 times sine of 104, and that will give us the area.
1.5 times 8.
What is it?
34.9.
34.9? And that's in centimeters squared. Make sure you put the square on it.
I got 30.
34
34.9.
34.9 centimeters squared. Okay? That's how that works. Okay? Good?
Can you go back to why you put the numbers with B, C?
Okay? So, up here they're called BC, or in the formula it was 1/2 BC sine of A, right? BC sine of A. So these two are two of your sides. Basically, it's just saying B and C are two of your sides. And A is the angle that's not opposite those two sides, right? B, C are just two of your sides. A is the angle not opposite those sides. So even though this was our this was our lowercase b, and this was our lowercase a, and this was our capital C, we still have two sides and the angle that's not opposite those sides, right? So it doesn't matter what we call them. We can switch them around. Doesn't matter what we call them, just as long as these two aren't opposite this one. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, good. So area's not as hard as it looked. Like it's really not that hard.
No, but this next
Okay.
one is hard.
All right, this next one. Here is the law of sines. Circle this. You will have this embedded into your brain. Sine A over A equals sine B over B equals sine C over C.
Oh, that's pretty easy to remember.
Not too bad. Okay, now you only will ever use 2 at a time. So sine A over A equals sine B over B. Just whatever angle, sine of that over top of the opposite side, right? Okay, so solve triangle ABC. What does it mean when it says solve that triangle?
Figure out all the lengths.
Everything that you're missing. So capital A, capital B, capital C, lowercase a, lowercase b, lowercase c. Okay, what's the difference between capitals and lowercases?
One is
Sides and angles.
These guys are the angles. These guys are the sides, if you didn't already know that. Sides and angles. Lowercase, capitals. Yeah? So we know some things already. What angles do we know?
Well, lower
C and B.
C is what?
80.
80. B is 45. Oh, guess what? We can find A real easy. Real easy, folks.
You just do math. I don't remember.
You just do math. These two
That's 125.
are 125.
55.
Subtract from 180, 55.
I
I'm gonna
just
put that
did
in different
math in my head.
Lowercase c is
Good
3.
job. Good job. Okay. Now we have 3, and Tegan says lowercase c is 3. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes, because it's opposite angle C, right?
So I bet it's 2 then 1.
Okay. So this guy is 3, yeah? Okay, so the formula says, and we only do 2 at a time. So they say sine A over A, sine B over B, sine C over C. You'll only ever use 2 at a time. Okay? So I have both C's, right? So in my formula, when I set this up, I'm going to do sine of what? If I use the C's, sine of what? 80 over 3 equals, hold on. Sine of 80 over 3 equals, and I have to do sine of something else over something else. Which one do you want to solve for, A or B?
A.
55.
A, sine of 55 over
X.
A or X, whatever you want to call it, okay? So that's how you'll set it up, yeah? And we're going to solve for him, and then we'll find B after that, okay? So do you guys see how we set that up?
Yeah.
Sine of C over C equals sine of A over A, right? These are the C's and these are the A's, right? Okay? So now we just cross multiply and divide, right? We just solve. So let's do sine of 80 times A. Sine of 80 times A. Just write this down.
Just do 3 sine of times sine of 55 divided by sine of 80.
You will. That's exactly what you'll do. Okay? 3 times sine of 55 equals sine of 80 times A. But then how do you solve for A? How do you get that A by itself?
Somehow divide.
Divide by sine of 80. Okay, so you should be able to enter this in all at one shot. A equals, take 3 times sine of 55. You'll have to close your parenthesis after the 55 and then divide by sine of 80. Try typing that into your calculator and see what you get.
I got 2.5.
That's what I got.
2.5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's
What I
actually
got.
2.49, but
I got 2.42.
2.42.
I got 2.49.
2.49.
Let me see.
Check your angles, 55 and 80
Yeah.
on 3.
How do I type it in?
I got like 3.0. I got 2.0.
2.49.
Oh, you didn't divide
How
by
did you
sine
type
of
it
80.
in?
Oh, what the heck? It's supposed to be 2.49530.
2.5?
Yeah.
Okay, so A is 2.5.
3
right, now,
sine 55
We can kind of check to see if
divided by
this is
sine
correct.
80.
Look at what 3 is opposite.
80.
80. Look at what 2.5 is opposite.
Yeah.
Should that be right?
Can you come tell me what
Right?
I'm doing wrong? Because that's not what I'm getting.
So I don't do anything with the first side or the
Come in, chair. Just
Yeah, we just cross multiply divide. Okay, what?
I'm not getting that
sine of
at all.
80
I've done it like
again?
50 times.
Are you in radians?
Anyone got a
Yeah.
straw?
Oh, you had me in radians.
There you go. Okay. All right. Did that come out good? Are we okay? Okay, now let's solve for B. Okay, we can set up exactly the same thing again. We can leave our C side the same. So I'm going to do sine of 80 over 3 equals, but this time I'm going to do B's on this side. So I do sine of 45 over B. Okay, and then I cross multiply. So this time I'm doing 3 times sine of 45 equals B times sine of 80.
That redhead shit.
2.15.
Divide by sine 80.
2.15.
No, she has to be.
B equals, you said 2.15?
So 2.2.
2.2. Sure, we'll go 2.2. Yeah, nearest tenth. They want one decimal place. 2.2. So let's see if that makes sense. 55 is opposite 2.5 because that's the medium angle and the medium side, right? 45 is opposite 2.2 because that's the small angle, small side. 80 is opposite 3 because that's the big angle, big side. Yeah?
Right.
Okay? Always check that to see. You're just doing a mental check to see which one's bigger, which one's smaller, right? Okay? But you are setting up sine something over something equals sine something over something. Okay? Start with what you have, and then you just have to plop the one that you don't know in there. Okay? Good? Sound good? All right, I'm going to give you your homework assignment, and I'm going to tell you to do, while I'm recording, I know you don't have this yet, but here's what I want you to do. On your homework assignment, do
That was kind of gross. I don't like it.
do just, I don't know if I want you to do,
Any of it. Yay.
no. I want you to do number 1 and number 2, and number 7 and number 9. Okay?
For skills.
You can skip number 8. You can cross them off.
Wait, we have
Okay? 1, 2, 7, 9. On skills practice. And that's it. Just do that. 1, 2, 7, 9. Yeah? Good? Okay. All right. These ones are solve each triangle. So make sure you list out like A, B, C, A, B, C. A, B, C, A, B, C. Okay? Do those. And we will start back again tomorrow.